I have a Grendel Carnage-like symbiote. You have a symbiote like Grendel Carnage. My symbiote is like Grendel Carnage. Why do I have a Grendel Carnage-like symbiote? How do I have a Grendel Carnage-like symbiote? Did I always have a Grendel Carnage-like symbiote? I have symbiote that can permanently merge with my DNA. You have a symbiote that can permanently merge with your DNA. My symbiote can permanently merge with my DNA. How do I have a symbiote that can permanently merge with my DNA? Why do I have a symbiote that can permanently merge with my DNA? Did I always have a symbiote that can permanently merge with my DNA? My symbiote can merge with my soul. I have a symbiote that can merge with my soul. You have a symbiote that can merge with your soul. How do I have a symbiote that can merge with my soul? Why do I have a symbiote that can merge with my soul? Did I always have a symbiote that could merge with my soul? My symbiote can merge with my body. I have a symbiote that can merge with my body. You have a symbiote that can merge with your body. How do I have a symbiote that can merge with my body? Why do I have a symbiote that can merge with my body? Did I always have a symbiote that can merge with my body? I am godly. I have godly powers. My powers are godly. You have godly powers. How do I have godly powers? Why do I have godly powers? Did I always have godly powers? I have godly abilities. My abilities are godly. You have godly abilities. How do I have godly abilities? Why do I have godly abilities? Did I always have godly abilities? I have immortality. My being is immortal. You are immortal. How am I immortal? Why am I immortal? Was I always immortal? I am immortal. I can absorb powers. You can absorb powers. How can I absorb powers? Why can I absorb power? Was I always able to absorb powers? I can absorb abilities. You can absorb abilities. How can I absorb abilities? Why can I absorb abilities? Was I always able to absorb abilities? I have infinite potential. You have infinite power. My powers are infinite. How do I have infinite power? Why do I have infinite power? Did I always have infinite power? I have a good bond with my symbiote. My bond is great with my symbiote. You have a great bond with your symbiote. How do I have such a great bond with my symbiote? Why is my bond so great with my symbiote? Did I always have such a good bond with my symbiote? I have a black Necrosword. You have a black Necrosword. How do I have a black Necrosword? Why do I have a black Necrosword? Did I always have a black Necrosword? I can't be destroyed. You can't be destroyed. How am I not capable of being destroyed? Why am I not capable of being destroyed? Was I always never capable of being destroyed? My black Necrosword can't be destroyed. I have a black Necrosword that can't be destroyed. You have a black Necrosword that can't be destroyed. How do I have a black Necrosword that can't be destroyed? Why do I have a black Necrosword that can't be destroyed? Did I always have a black Necrosword that can't be destroyed? My black Necrosword can never be destroyed. I have a black Necrosword that can never be destroyed. You have a black Necrosword that can never be destroyed. How do I have a black Necrosword that can never be destroyed? Why do I have a black Necrosword that can never be destroyed? Did I always have a black Necrosword that could never be destroyed? I can summon the black Necrosword at will. You can summon the black Necrosword at will. My black Necrosword can be summoned at will. How can I summon the black Necrosword at will? Why am I able to summon the black Necrosword at will? Was I always able to summon the black Necrosword at will? I can manifest the black Necrosword at will. You can manifest the black Necrosword at will. My black Necrosword can be summoned at will. How can I summon the black Necrosword at will? Why can I summon the black Necrosword at will? Was I always able to summon the black Necrosword at will? I have godly symbiote powers. You have godly symbiote powers. My symbiote powers are godly. How do I have godly symbiote powers? Why do I have godly symbiote powers? Did I always have godly symbiote powers? I have godly symbiote abilities. You have godly symbiote abilities. My symbiote abilities are godly. How do I have godly symbiote abilities? Why do I have godly symbiote abilities? Did I always have godly symbiote abilities? I have my desired colored symbiote. You have your desired colored symbiote. My symbiote is my desired color. How do I have my desired colored symbiote? Why do I have my desired color symbiote? Did I always have my desired colored symbiote? My symbiote can shift into different colors. I have a symbiote that can shift into different colors. You have a symbiote that can shift into different colors. How can my symbiote shift into different colors? Why can my symbiote shift into different colors? Was my symbiote always able to shift into different colors? My symbiote can camouflage. I have a symbiote that can camouflage. You have a symbiote that can camouflage. How can my symbiote camouflage? Why can my symbiote camouflage? Was my symbiote always able to camouflage? I have my desired eye color. My eyes are my desired color. You have your desired color eyes. How do I have my desired colored eyes? Why are my eyes my desired color? Did I always have my desired colored eyes? I have the strongest symbiote of all time. My symbiote is the strongest of all time. You have the strongest symbiote of all time. How do I have the strongest symbiote of all time? Why do I have the strongest symbiote of all time? Did I always have the strongest symbiote of all time? My symbiote looks exactly like how I desire. I have a symbiote that looks exactly how I desire. You have a symbiote that looks exactly how you desire. How do I have a symbiote that looks exactly how I desire? Why do I have a symbiote that looks exactly how I desire? Did I always have a symbiote that looks exactly how I desire? My symbiote has superhuman strength. I have a symbiote that has superhuman strength. You have a symbiote that has superhuman strength. How do I have a symbiote with superhuman strength? Why do I have a symbiote with superhuman strength? Did I always have a symbiote with superhuman strength? My symbiote is the strongest symbiote of all time. I have the strongest symbiote of all time. You have the strongest symbiote of all time. How do I have the strongest symbiote of all time? Why do I have the strongest symbiote of all time? Did I always have the strongest symbiote of all time? My symbiote can lift entire buildings. I have a symbiote that can lift entire buildings. You have a symbiote that can lift entire buildings. How do I have a symbiote that can lift entire buildings? Why do I have a symbiote that can lift entire buildings? Did I always have a symbiote that can lift entire buildings? My symbiote can lift a skyscraper. I have a symbiote that can lift a skyscraper. You have a symbiote that can lift a skyscraper. How do I have a symbiote that can lift a skyscraper? Why do I have a symbiote that can lift a skyscraper? Did I always have a symbiote that can lift a skyscraper? My symbiote has superhuman speed. I have a symbiote with superhuman speed. You have a symbiote with superhuman speed. How do I have a symbiote with superhuman speed? Why do I have a symbiote with superhuman speed? Did I always have a symbiote with superhuman speed? My symbiote is faster than the speed of light. I have a symbiote faster than the speed of light. You have a symbiote faster than the speed of light. How do I have a symbiote faster than the speed of light? Why do I have a symbiote faster than the speed of light? Did I always have a symbiote faster than the speed of light? My symbiote is the fastest symbiote of all time. I have the fastest symbiote of all time. You have the fastest symbiote of all time. How do I have the fastest symbiote of all time? Why do I have the fastest symbiote of all time? Did I always have the fastest symbiote of all time? My symbiote has superhuman agility. I have a symbiote with superhuman agility. You have a symbiote with superhuman agility. How do I have a symbiote with superhuman agility? Why do I have a symbiote with superhuman agility? Did I always have a symbiote with superhuman agility? My symbiote has the greatest symbiote agility of all time. I have a symbiote with the greatest symbiote agility of all time. You have the symbiote with the greatest agility of all time. How do I have the symbiote with the greatest symbiote agility of all time? Why do I have the symbiote with the greatest symbiote agility of all time? Did I always have the symbiote with the greatest agility? My symbiote has superhuman durability. I have symbiote with superhuman durability. You have the symbiote with superhuman durability. How do I have the symbiote with superhuman durability? Why do I have a symbiote with superhuman durability? Did I always have a symbiote with superhuman durability? My symbiote has the greatest symbiote durability of all time. I have the symbiote with the greatest symbiote durability of all time. You have the symbiote with greatest symbiote durability of all time. How do I have the symbiote with the greatest durability of all time? Why do I have the symbiote with the greatest durability of all time? Did I always have the symbiote with the best durability of all time? My symbiote is incredibly variable. I have an incredibly variable symbiote. You have an incredibly variable symbiote. How do I have an incredibly variable symbiote? Why do I have an incredibly variable symbiote? Did I always have such an incredibly variable symbiote? My symbiote has superhuman stamina. I have symbiote with superhuman stamina. You have a symbiote with superhuman stamina. How do I have a symbiote with superhuman stamina? Why do I have a symbiote with superhuman stamina? Did I always have a symbiote with superhuman stamina? My symbiote has the greatest symbiote stamina of all time. I have the symbiote with the greatest symbiote stamina of all time. You have the symbiote with the greatest symbiote stamina of all time. How do I have the symbiote with the greatest symbiote stamina? Why do I have the symbiote with the greatest symbiote stamina? Did I always have the symbiote with the greatest symbiote stamina? My symbiote has shape-shifting abilities. I have symbiote with shape-shifting abilities. You have a symbiote with shape-shifting abilities. How do I have a symbiote with shape-shifting abilities? Why do I have a symbiote with shape-shifting abilities? Did I always have a symbiote with shape-shifting abilities? My symbiote has an accelerated healing factor. I have a symbiote with accelerated healing. You have a symbiote with accelerated healing. How do I have a symbiote with accelerated healing? Why do I have a symbiote with accelerated healing? Did I always have a symbiote with accelerated healing? My symbiote heals insanely fast. I have a symbiote that heals insanely fast. You have a symbiote that heals insanely fast. How do I have a symbiote that heals insanely fast? Why do I have a symbiote that heals insanely fast? Did I always have a symbiote that heals insanely fast? My symbiote has hypersonic flight. I have a symbiote with supersonic flight. You have a symbiote with supersonic flight. How do I have a symbiote with supersonic flight? Why do I have a symbiote with supersonic flight? Did I always have a symbiote with supersonic flight? My symbiote has hypersonic flight in interstellar atmospheres. I have a symbiote with supersonic flight in interstellar atmospheres. You have a symbiote with supersonic flight in interstellar atmospheres. How do I have a symbiote with supersonic flight in interstellar atmospheres? Why do I have a symbiote with supersonic flight in interstellar atmospheres? Did I always have a symbiote with supersonic flight in interstellar atmospheres? My symbiote has interstellar flight at really fast speeds. I have symbiote with interstellar flight at really fast speeds. You have a symbiote with interstellar flight at really fast speeds. How do I have a symbiote with interstellar flight at really fast speeds? Why do I have a symbiote with interstellar flight at really fast speeds? Did I always have a symbiote with interstellar flight at really fast speeds? My symbiote has constituent matter manipulation. I have a symbiote with constituent matter manipulation. You have a symbiote with constituent matter manipulation. How do I have a symbiote with constituent matter manipulation? Why do I have a symbiote with constituent matter manipulation? Did I always have a symbiote with constituent matter manipulation? My symbiote can generate tendrils from its biomass. I have a symbiote that can generate tendrils from its biomass. You have a symbiote that can generate tendril from its biomass. How do I have a symbiote that can generate tendrils from its biomass? Why do I have a symbiote that can generate tendrils from its biomass? Did I always have a symbiote that can generate tendrils from its biomass? My symbiote has variable plus. I have a symbiote with variable plus. You have symbiote with variable plus. How do I have a symbiote with variable plus? Why do I have a symbiote with variable plus? Did I always have a symbiote with variable plus? My symbiote has strong teeth. I have a symbiote with strong teeth. You have a symbiote with strong teeth. How do I have a symbiote with strong teeth? Why do I have a symbiote with strong teeth? Did I always have a symbiote with strong teeth? My symbiote has strong fangs. I have symbiote with strong fangs. You have a symbiote with strong fangs. How do I have a symbiote with strong fangs? Why do I have a symbiote with strong fangs? Did I always have a symbiote with strong fangs? My symbiote does not have to bond to me to be powerful. I have a symbiote that is powerful without bonding to me. You have a symbiote that is powerful without bonding to you. How do I have a symbiote that is powerful even without bonding to me? Why do I have a symbiote that is powerful even without a bond to me? Did I always have a symbiote that was powerful even without a bond to me? My symbiote is happy to bond with me. I have a symbiote happy to bond with me. You have symbiote happy to bond with you. How do I have a symbiote that is happy to bond with me? Why do I have a symbiote that is happy to bond with me? Did I always have a symbiote that was happy to bond with me? My symbiote takes care of me. I have a symbiote that takes care of me. You have a symbiote that takes care of you. How do I have a symbiote that takes care of me? Why do I have a symbiote that takes care of me? Did I always have a symbiote that takes care of me? My symbiote wants what is best for me. I have a symbiote that wants what is best for me. You have a symbiote that wants what is best for you. How do I have a symbiote that wants what is best for me? Why do I have a symbiote that wants what is best for me? Did I always have a symbiote that wants what is best for me? My symbiote's matter can separate and bond to their hosts. I have symbiote that has matter that can separate and bond to their hosts. You have symbiote whose matter can separate and bond to their hosts. How do I have a symbiote whose matter can separate and bond to other hosts? Why do I have a symbiote with matter that can separate and bond to other hosts? Did I always have a symbiote with matter that can separate and bond to other hosts? My symbiote's matter only bonds to willing hosts. I have symbiote with matter that only bonds to willing hosts. You have a symbiote with matter that only bonds to willing hosts. How do I have a symbiote with matter that only bonds to willing hosts? Why do I have a symbiote with matter that only bonds to willing hosts? Did I always have a symbiote with matter that only bonds to willing hosts? My symbiote asks permission to bond with hosts. I have a symbiote that asks permission to bond with hosts. You have a symbiote that asks permission to bond with other hosts. How do I have a symbiote that asks permission to bond with hosts? Why does my symbiote ask permission to bond with hosts? Did I always have a symbiote that asks permission to bond with hosts? My symbiote is respectful of others. I have a symbiote that is respectful of others. You have a symbiote that is respectful of others. How do I have a symbiote that is respectful of others? Why does my symbiote respect others? Did I always have a symbiote that respects others? My symbiote has elder knowledge. I have a symbiote with elder knowledge. You have a symbiote with elder knowledge. How do I have a symbiote with elder knowledge? Why do I have a symbiote with elder knowledge? Did I always have a symbiote with elder knowledge? My symbiote is very wise. I have a very wise symbiote. You have a very wise symbiote. How is my symbiote so wise? Why is my symbiote so wise? Was my symbiote always this wise? My symbiote is as powerful as a god. I have a symbiote as powerful as a god. You have a symbiote as powerful as a god. How do I have a symbiote that is as powerful as a god? Why is my symbiote as powerful as a god? Was my symbiote always as powerful as a god? My symbiote has its own den. I have a symbiote with a den. You have a symbiote with a den. How does my symbiote have a den? Why does my symbiote have a den? Did my symbiote always have a den? Your symbiote's den. Look how you desire. My symbiote has its own headquarters. I have a symbiote with its own headquarters. You have a symbiote with its own headquarters. How does my symbiote have its own headquarters? Why does my symbiote have its own headquarters? Did my symbiote always have its own headquarters? Your symbiote's headquarters looks how you desire. My symbiote has its own secret lair. I have a symbiote with its own secret lair. You have a symbiote with its own secret lair. How does my symbiote have a secret lair? Why does my symbiote have a secret lair? Did my symbiote always have a secret lair? Your symbiote's secret lair looks how you desire. My symbiote respects the planet. I have a symbiote that respects the planet. You have a symbiote that respects the planet. How do I have a symbiote that respects the planet? Why do I have a symbiote that respects the planet? Did my symbiote always respect the planet? My symbiote can create a hive mind with other symbiote hosts. I have symbiote that can create a hive mind with other symbiotes. You have a symbiote that can create a hive mind with other symbiotes. How can my symbiote create a hive mind with other symbiotes? Why is my symbiote able to create a hive mind with other symbiotes? Did my symbiote always have the ability to create a hive mind with other symbiotes? My symbiote can create matter that has a telepathic ability. I have a symbiote that can create matter with telepathic abilities. You have a symbiote that can create matter with telepathic abilities. How do I have a symbiote that can create matter with telepathic abilities? Why do I have a symbiote that can create matter with telepathic abilities? Did I always have a symbiote that can create matter with telepathic abilities? My symbiote is like a dragon. I have a symbiote like a dragon. You have a symbiote like a dragon. How do I have a symbiote that is like a dragon? Why do I have a symbiote that is like a dragon? Did I always have a symbiote that is like a dragon? My symbiote can form armor around me. I have a symbiote that can form armor around me. You have a symbiote that can form armor around you. How do I have a symbiote that can form armor around me? Why can my symbiote form armor around me? Was my symbiote always able to form armor around me? My symbiote has a human-like form it can turn into. I have a symbiote with a human-like form. You have a symbiote with a human-like form. How do I have a symbiote with a human-like form? Why do I have a symbiote with a human-like form? My symbiote is able to withstand the rocket. I have a symbiote that can withstand the rocket. You have a symbiote that can withstand the rocket. How can my symbiote withstand the rocket? Why can my symbiote withstand the rocket? Was my symbiote always able to withstand the rocket? My symbiote is able to turn into mist. I have a symbiote that can turn into mist. You have a symbiote that can turn into mist. How can my symbiote turn into mist? Why can my symbiote turn into mist? Was my symbiote always able to turn into mist? My symbiote can turn into different forms. I have a symbiote that can shift into different forms. You have a symbiote that can shift into different forms. How can my symbiote shift into so many different forms? Why can my symbiote shift into different forms? Was my symbiote always able to shift into so many different forms? My symbiote is able to make different projectile weapons. I have a symbiote that can form projectile weapons. You have a symbiote that can form projectile weapons. How can my symbiote form projectile weapons? Why can my symbiote form projectile weapons? Was my symbiote always able to form projectile weapons? My symbiote is a reflection of my best self. I have a symbiote that is a reflection of my best self. You have a symbiote that is a reflection of your best self. How do I have a symbiote that is a reflection of my best self? Why do I have a symbiote that reflects my best self? Was my symbiote always reflecting my best self? My symbiote has its own consciousness. I have a symbiote with its own consciousness. You have a symbiote with its own consciousness. How do I have a symbiote with its own consciousness? Why do I have a symbiote with its own consciousness? Did my symbiote always have its own conscious? I have great bond with my symbiote. My symbiote can lift up to 80 tons. My symbiote's strength can increase with its size. My symbiote has massive expansion. I have a symbiote with massive expansion. You have a symbiote with massive expansion. How do I have a symbiote with massive expansion? Why do I have a symbiote with massive expansion? Did I always have a symbiote with massive expansion? My symbiote can absorb other symbiotes. I have a symbiote that can absorb other symbiotes. You have a symbiote that can absorb other symbiotes. How do I have a symbiote that can absorb other symbiotes? Why do I have a symbiote that can absorb other symbiotes? Was my symbiote always able to absorb other symbiotes? My symbiote can stretch incredibly wide. I have a symbiote that can stretch incredibly wide. You have a symbiote that can stretch incredibly wide. How do I have a symbiote that can stretch incredibly wide? Why can my symbiote stretch so wide? Was my symbiote always able to stretch so wide? My symbiote has an incredibly strong grip. I have a symbiote with incredibly strong grip. You have a symbiote with incredibly strong grip. How's my symbiote's grip so strong? Why is my symbiote's grip so strong? Was my symbiote's grip always so strong? My symbiote can make holes in its body. I have symbiote that can make holes in its body. You have symbiote that can make holes in its body. How can my symbiote make holes in its body? Why can my symbiote make holes in its body? Was my symbiote always able to make holes in its body? My symbiote can make holes in its body that allows things to pass through it. My symbiote can mold its body into different shapes. My symbiote can create different weapons from its tendrils. I have symbiote that can create different weapons from its tendrils. You have a symbiote that can create different weapons from its tendrils. How can my symbiote create weapons from its tendrils? Why can my symbiote create weapons from its tendrils? Was my symbiote always able to create weapons from its tendril? My symbiote can shoot things from its tendrils. I have a symbiote that can shoot things from its tendrils. You have a symbiote that can shoot things from its tendrils. How can my symbiote shoot things from its tendrils? Why can my symbiote shoot things from its tendril? Was my symbiote always able to shoot things from its tendrils? My symbiote is admitted. My symbiote has a connection with gods. I have a symbiote with a connection to the gods. You have symbiote with a connection to the gods. How does my symbiote have a connection to the gods? Why does my symbiote have a connection to the gods? Did my symbiote always have a connection with the gods? My symbiote can mind control other symbiotes. My symbiote can resurrect. I have a symbiote that can resurrect. You have a symbiote that can resurrect. How can my symbiote resurrect? Why can my symbiote resurrect? Was my symbiote always able to resurrect? My symbiote has godlike powers. I have a symbiote with godlike powers. You have a symbiote with godlike powers. How do I have a symbiote with godlike powers? Why do I have a symbiote with godlike powers? Did my symbiote always have godlike powers? My symbiote is the most symbiote powerful of all time. My symbiote can gather the codex of other symbiotes. I have symbiote that gather other symbiotes' codexes. You have symbiote that can gather other symbiotes' codexes. How can my symbiote gather other symbiotes' codexes? Why does my symbiote have the ability to gather other symbiotes' codexes? Did my symbiote always have the ability to gather other symbiotes' codexes? My symbiote is one of the strongest beings in the universe. I do not feel pain transforming with my symbiote. You do not feel pain transforming with your symbiote. I do not feel pain binding with my symbiote. You do not feel pain binding with your symbiote. My symbiote has speed faster than sound. My symbiote has speed faster than light. My symbiote has a react time faster than light. My symbiote has a react time faster than sound. My symbiote has mental healing ability. I have a symbiote with mental healing ability. You have a symbiote with mental healing ability. How do I have a symbiote with mental healing abilities? Why do I have a symbiote with mental healing abilities? Did my symbiote always have mental healing abilities? My symbiote provides me the best food. I have a symbiote that provides the best food. You have a symbiote that provides the best food. How do I have a symbiote that provides such good foods? Why does my symbiote provide such good food? Was my symbiote always able to provide such good food? My symbiote helps me mentally. My symbiote can project hellfire. I have a symbiote that can project hellfire. You have a symbiote that can project hellfire. How can my symbiote project hellfire? Why can my symbiote project hellfire? Was my symbiote always able to project hellfire? My symbiote can mimic clothing. I have a symbiote that can mimic clothing. You have a symbiote that can mimic clothing. How can my symbiote mimic clothing? Why can my symbiote mimic clothing? Was my symbiote always able to mimic clothing? My symbiote can impersonate other people. I have a symbiote that can impersonate other people. You have a symbiote that can impersonate other people. How do I have a symbiote that can impersonate other people? Why do I have a symbiote that can impersonate other people? Was my symbiote always able to impersonate other people? My symbiote has spidey sense. My symbiote has a sixth sense. I have a symbiote with a sixth sense. You have a symbiote with a sixth sense. How do you have a symbiote with a sixth sense? Why does my symbiote have a sixth sense? Did my symbiote always have a sixth sense? My symbiote can block other symbiotes from tracking symbiotes. My symbiote has multiversal levels of powers. I have a symbiote with multiversal levels of power. You have a symbiote with multiversal levels of power. How do I have a symbiote with multiversal levels of power? Why do I have a symbiote with multiversal levels of power? Did I always have a symbiote with multiversal levels of power? I have an all-black Necrosword. You have an all-black Necrosword. How do I have an all-black Necrosword? Why do I have an all-black Necrosword? Did I always have an all-black Necrosword? I have the all-black Necrosword. You have the all-black Necrosword. How do I have the all-black Necrosword? Why do I have the all-black Necrosword? Did I always have the all-black Necrosword? My black Necrosword is one of the most powerful weapons in existence. I have one of the most powerful weapons in existence. You have one of the most powerful weapons in existence. How do I have one of the most powerful weapons in existence? Why do I have one of the most powerful weapons in existence? Did I always have one of the most powerful weapons in existence? My black Necrosword can destroy God. I have a sword that can destroy the gods. You have a sword that can destroy the gods. How do I have a sword that can destroy God? Why do I have a sword that can destroy God? Did I always have a sword that could destroy God? My black Necrosword can create shadow creatures. I have a sword that can create shadow creatures. creature. You have a sword that can create shadow creatures. How do I have a sword that can create shadow creatures? Why do I have a sword that can create shadow creatures? Did I always have a sword that could create shadow creatures? My black Necrosword can summon shadow creatures. I have a sword that can summon shadow creatures. You have a sword that can summon shadow creatures. How do I have a sword that can summon shadow creatures? Why do I have a sword that can summon shadow creatures? My black Necrosword can injure God. My black Necrosword looks like a symbiote. I have a sword that looks like a symbiote. You have a sword that looks like a symbiote. How do I have a sword that looks like a symbiote? Why do I have a sword that looks like a symbiote? Did I always have a sword that looks like a symbiote? My black Necrosword was crafted from darkness. I have a sword crafted from darkness. You have a sword crafted from darkness. How do I have a sword crafted from darkness? Why do I have a sword crafted from darkness? Did I always have a sword crafted from darkness? My black Necrosword can be fueled by celestial power. I have a sword fueled by celestial power. You have a sword fueled by celestial power. How's my sword fueled by celestial power? Why is my sword fueled by celestial power? Was my sword always fueled by celestial power? My black Necrosword can consume other beings' powers. I have a sword that can consume other beings' power. You have a sword that can consume other beings' power. How do I have a sword that can consume other beings' power? Why do I have a sword that can consume other beings' power? Did I always have a sword that can consume other beings' power? My black Necrosword can feed on others' energies. My black Necrosword can control primordial darkness. I have a sword that can control primordial darkness. You have a sword that can control primordial darkness. How do I have a sword that can control primordial darkness? Why do I have a sword that can control primordial darkness? Was my sword always able to control primordial darkness? My black Necrosword can destroy celestials. I have a sword that can destroy celestials. You have a sword that can destroy celestials. How do I have a sword that can destroy celestials? Why do I have a sword that can destroy celestials? Was my sword always able to destroy celestials? My black Necrosword can send others to purgatory. I have a sword that can send others to purgatory. You have a sword that can send others to purgatory. How do I have a sword that can send others to purgatory? Why do I have a sword that can send others to purgatory? Was my sword always able to send others to purgatory? My black Necrosword can control shadows. My black Necrosword can create symbiotes. I have a sword that can create symbiotes. You have a sword that can create symbiotes. How do I have a sword that can create symbiotes? Why do I have a sword that can create symbiote? Was my sword always able to create symbiotes? My black Necrosword is powered by celestial energy. I have a sword powered by celestial energy. You have a sword powered by celestial energy. How is my sword powered by celestial energy? Why is my sword powered by celestial energy? Was my sword always powered by celestial energy? My black Necrosword dwarfs the power of gods. I have a sword that dwarfs the power of gods. You have a sword that dwarfs the power of gods. How does my sword dwarf the power of gods? Why can my sword dwarf the power of gods? Was my sword always able to dwarf the power of God? My black Necrosword can blind a god. My black Necrosword can be summoned at any time. I have a sword that can be summoned at any time. You have a sword that can be summoned at any time. How is my sword able to be summoned at any time? Why is my sword able to be summoned at any time? Was my sword always able to be summoned at any time? My black Necrosword can bind to me. The black Necrosword can bind to me. You can bind to the black Necrosword. How is the black Necrosword able to bind to me? Why is the black Necrosword able to bind to me? My black Necrosword cannot corrupt me. I cannot be corrupted by the black Necrosword. You cannot be corrupted by the black Necrosword. My black Necrosword cannot kill me. I cannot be killed by the black Necrosword. You cannot be killed by the black Necrosword. My black Necrosword can speak to me. I can speak to the black Necrosword. You can speak to the black Necrosword. How can I speak to the black Necrosword? Why can I speak to the black Necrosword? Was I always able to speak to the black Necrosword? My black Necrosword can restore itself. I have a sword that can restore itself. You have a sword that can restore itself. How do I have a sword that can restore itself? Why do I have a sword that can restore itself? Was the black Necrosword always able to restore itself? My black Necrosword can rebuild itself. I have a strong will. You have strong will. My will is strong. How do I have such a strong will? Why do I have such a strong will? Was my will always so strong? I have powerful perception. My perception is powerful. You have powerful perception. How is my perception so powerful? Why is my perception so powerful? Was my perception always this powerful? I have claircognizance. You have claircognizance. How do I have claircognizance? Why do I have claircognizance? Did I always have claircognizance? I am able to predict things before they happen. You are able to predict things before they happen. How can I predict things before they happen? Why can I predict things before they happen? Was I always able to predict things before they happen?